Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I am Discarded, and my channel focuses on doing beginner tips and tricks videos to make easing into a new or at least new to you game easier. And I like to do that with all of the good stuff with none of the fluff. That being said, I do long form content. So I will have timestamps for those of you that don't do long form and just want to get to the nitty gritty. That's just fine. All I ask is that if that's what you're going to do, and with me respecting your time, pay me some respect back by hitting that like and or subscribe button. That would be super helpful with how new and small my channel is. As a great payback for me not wasting your time. And speaking of which, let's get down to the nitty gritty. The thing that over 90% of you clicked on this for is, of course, the news from Paradox Interactive. These are the geniuses that made Cities Skylines and several other wonderful games over the years. It's so exciting for them to help with this because boom! They have acquired Stranded Alien Dawn. And that is amazing because Stranded Alien Dawn is honestly one of my favorite games of all time. I do mean that. I've played this game since the early access just came out back in 2023. And it was one of the more polished, more well-made, easy to kind of be new and get into games. Main point being, it's a fantastic game. With me being a new channel, obviously, I don't have any insider information, so I don't know what this is going to mean for the game, but I can tell you this. Paradox Interactive has like 50-some games and a whole crap ton of like over 200 DLCs out there. So what I'm hoping is that it means lots of added longevity to this game, which this game is already one of the longevity goats in my opinion, and I will explain why. But for those of you that were just looking for the news, of course you can see it's hot off the press from April of this year. I work 80 hours a week or more, so obviously I can't keep up with things to be on the moment. But here I am with one of my favorite games with the best news of 2025 by far and large. So if that's all you came for, go ahead and hit that like button. Go ahead and hit the subscribe to help me out and to thank me for not wasting your time. Get on and do your thing if that's what you want to do. But for those of you that actually want to check this game out, let's get down to business. So I'm going to do new game, and then I'm going to try and run through some of the stuff that's here, but I'm going to try and make it as fast as possible because I don't want to, this is a really boring thing to have to sit through. Plus, you can look at this on your own. The game mode that I'm going to do this like the game came out originally. Okay, we're going to do the original planet. I'm technically going to be doing the original moon, at least by name, but even though that is a little bit different, I'll explain later. But we're also going to do a very laid-back, newbie-friendly version of it, and you'll understand here in a sec. So anyways, there's 3 different scenarios for how you can play this, and this is what makes it so cool. There's 3 different style games. This is Crash Landing, to where the objective isn't to just sit there and build endlessly. It's actually to escape the planet, to get back to civilization. Trading Outpost is where you're trying to sell things from the planet because you'll mine the resources and whatnot. So that's actually a fun way to play too if you're kind of looking for more of a long one. And then the Military Outpost obviously deals more with combat. But I haven't done Military Outpost yet. However, by the time I get to doing a newbie guide on that, then I will have played it in the background in my own time, because believe me, I could literally play Crash Landing, Trading Post, and Military Outpost all at the same time, not like literally at the same time, but all during the same week, and I would not be tired of this game. I love it that much. I'm so excited. I can't even tell you. But the region, this is what the different, I don't know if it's different planets or different regions of the same planet. I don't really know the lore on the game, but they are 3 completely different environments, okay? The Saltu and Desertum are The newer ones, Desertum was second and Saltu was third, I believe. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure that's how it went. This is like a, obviously more of a swampy environment. This is the original plant, and this is the one we're going to do because that's what I'm most familiar with, and I think it's the best to learn on. And then for the moon, this is kind of where you can set the battle difficulty that will happen, and it's periodic battles. Now, if you don't want that at all and you just want to build, don't get mad and click away yet because there's still something for you there. But Concordia is kind of like the easy mode. It's very relaxed, really simple. You could almost forget about those battle days and still be okay. Like, it's not that bad. So it's kind of a good way to get your feet wet with it and to get used to having battles. I'm going to play with Jason. That's the original moon, if I'm remembering correctly. But they did change a little bit about how it was structured. It's harder than it used to be. For game difficulty, just so I can have the opportunity to talk to you guys about stuff, I'm going to put it on easy rather than medium, hard, very hard, or insane, because insane is just that. It is absolutely insane, but easy is what I'm going to do just so I can do it, just so I can talk to you guys. Now, this is the important part. If you're going to play along, which is what most of my subscribers do, and I'm all for it because I will never structure my content in a way that is 100% towards maximum monetization. Number one, I can't even monetize right now anyways at the time of upload. But even if I could, I'm still not going to do that. This is a passion project. I like helping people, and that's what I'm going to do my best to do. So kind of what helps me as far as, my video analytics is when people play along, because that obviously gives a really long watch time, and that's one of the most important metrics on videos right now. So anyways, if you're going to play along, or if you just want, something to play along with me playing in the background, or if you just want a good seed, this is a really popular one because you get lots of survivors really quickly. And it can be an issue with food if you're not careful, but I will show you how to manage that and everything will be all right, because that's a really easy problem to combat. All right. Now, the other nice thing is that it's got a nice buildable area. It's a pretty decent starting zone. There's lots of scavenge opportunities right close by in the beginning, which is really nice and really handy. It's just a great beginner's seed to do. Now, the nice thing about these seeds is you don't have to do this one. You can do any of the random ones, put any word you want, and the game will be very, very different than what I'm doing. So even if you're doing your own seed and your own thing, you will not encounter the same things that I do. So it'll keep things interesting. And that's what I love, is that these seeds and the way the game plays is completely different. Some will have storms right off the bat. Some have, at least in the old days when you played on Jason, sometimes the first attack was on day 7. Sometimes it was earlier. I don't think that's that way anymore, but just because the earlier attacks can really screw you. But you get the point. Like, the pacing of everything is different. The order in which you get certain events is different. Like, everything is different based on the seed. Now, the same seed will play the same way each time. That's one drawback. But I would rather have that and have a literally unlimited amount of seeds to choose from for different pacing than have the same seed have the exact same playthrough. Now, what's kind of nice is when you get into a map and you like that particular map, because not all of the zones that were in this region are the exact same. That can be different as well. Some feature more water and stuff like that. Some feature more mountains. And so it really keeps things interesting. Now, if you like a particular region but don't particularly like a starting spot, you can either move, which is kind of tough, or you can mess with your seed to kind of keep similar names, like keep one word the same and then do another one. That's generally what I do to try and do. I don't remember if it's the first name or the second name that kind of helps with the map that you're on, but that could be something that you do to try and get in a different starting spot if you like that particular map. But for game rules, I'm not really going to go into this big time because you can check this out. But I'll just kind of do this slowly here, and you can pause it to read them, or you can go and do it yourself. I am going to link the game for the Steam page. I'm not going to get anything from it because I don't have any affiliate relationships. I'm way too new for that, and I don't even, with me not really caring about whether I'm maximizing viewership or anything like that, I doubt I'll ever get to the point where I'll get affiliate stuff. But we'll see. I just want to support the game because it's one of my favorites, and I think Paradox can really help make this game even cooler than what it is, which is friggin' sweet. Now, for your survivors, again, I'm not going to go into huge details here. I'll just kind of go over each one here. And again, you can pause it and read if you want. I will have a certain choice that I'm going to do for this playthrough, but I'll explain some of the people that I like to do just so you can kind of, make decisions on your own. So if you're still deciding whether you want to buy the game or not, you can kind of take a look at this, take a look at what some of the survivors are. I can't remember if I did this one, so just in case I missed this one, I'll go back over this, or I'll go over this for the first time. I'm not sure which, but I really want to emphasize that there's just so many different ways you can play this game. And I can't wait to do multiple series on it once I get done with the beginner tips and tricks. I really hope they dive in and really make this game better than what it was. Not that it needed a ton of improvement, but just better in like more game modes, more mechanics. I don't know, like just there's the possibilities are literally endless for what they could do. But let's stop talking and get down to the business of who I'm going to use. Now, I'm going to use Ember. I've never used her before. And the reason why I want to do it is because she increases the hit chance and critical hit chance of everyone in 50-meter range by 10%. Well, anyone that plays games knows that if you're increasing critical hit chance by 10%, that's friggin' sweet. So, and then plus she occasionally improves the combat skill of others. Now, off to the right, you can see that she's great with combat. She's got a 3 for construction, which will be significant as heck once I tell you later. But look at those other aspects. Healing 3, intellect 4, physical 4. I mean, she is just a baller. I can't believe I haven't used her before. But I'm going to grab her. And then one of the other people that you certainly don't have to grab her if you don't want to as a new player, because she's not going to be super duper critical. She's just pretty freaking sweet. For new people, there are 3 suggestions that I do think that you should check out. Most importantly is Vivian, and here's why. If you're playing on this seed and you don't want to use Vivian, that's fine. This seed, the first winter, is not that bad. There's weather events that become extreme. So when you have a winter that has a snap event, which is what they call the extreme winter events, so you either have a cold snap or extreme cold snap or severe cold snap, I think. Any of those would spell big time trouble if you don't have Vivian, because you have to be tailoring from the get-go, and even then you will not have warm stuff for everybody if you don't have Vivian. So she is absolutely vital to survive any type of seed that ends up with a snap. So I will showcase her in this one. The next one that I think is super vital in your early playthroughs is Ken. That's because he finds twice the scrap metal during scavenge operations and expeditions. This is big because scavenging is the only way that you get the scrap metal until you can go on expeditions. And then you have dedicated expeditions where getting scrap is pretty much the entire point of the expedition. Now, the other one that I suggest that you get, just because it makes things fun, is Quinn. And that is because he not only loves doing intellect, as you can see, he's interested in it, but he's got a construction of 5, which again, I'll mention why that's significant later. But he does expeditions in, it says expeditions take less time. I think it's half. Back in the day, it used to be half, but maybe it's just, 25%. But regardless, he takes less time on expeditions, and that is just awesome. So I highly suggest Quinn. Now, a couple of other ones that I want to throw out there for honorable mention is this guy is not that great for newbies because he's incapable of combat, and that can get really hairy and is completely unacceptable for if you're doing a more difficult moon than what I'm doing. Anything harder than what I'm doing, you would not want this guy, because in your initial 4, all 4 of them need combat. I really would even suggest it for Jason as well. But another honorable mention is Lara, because Lara has 25% more movement speed and manipulation efficiency. That's huge. She's also twice as fast at seeding and harvesting, which is significant. Krista can be really fun as well, even though she can't craft, because she gets occasional insights that boost the current research progress, which kind of makes her hit above her pay grade in research speed, which is really nice because I want to say it's percentage based. The last I remember it's percentage based. So if you're doing like a 5-day research and it hits an insight, then it's like a huge jump in when it finishes. So she's a baller when it comes to research. Nova is also a baller. She was the first one that I remember really kind of like doing everything with for the longest time, and that's because she's just really well rounded. I would get her construction up, which was a little hard to go from 0 to 2, but it's not that hard to go from 1 to 2, and you'll find out why that's relevant once we get going. She cannot do anything related to intellect, which is not necessarily the worst thing in the world in the beginning, because she kind of starts gathering things and putting shit aside, and that's how I was able to easily get her construction up, because while everyone else is observing stuff, which is what I do in the very beginning, then she's constructing stuff. So there's kind of a thing that balances out there. It's not that bad. Plus, if you're on a seed that does the tachyon source, then you'll get something that'll kind of make this insignificant. But we'll cover that at a different time when it comes around. Another honorable mention is Samantha is really fast at construction. So if you want to do a lot of construction, then she's really great, because you can see that she's good with intellect, but then she's also interested in construction. Plus, she gets 3x work speed when constructing devices or furniture. So she does that stuff really fast. Now, devices don't really take all that long, so it's not something that's huge for me, but she is interested in construction, and that's kind of nice, because then they get happy when they do that. She's okay. Simon's awesome because his movement speed is 25%. He kind of tends to be a placeholder for me. If I run, like if you didn't want to do Quinn, so then I would do Simon, because he's got good intellect, but he's pretty good. I've had Vicente before. He doesn't really have anything special other than the seeds and harvest plants twice as fast like Lara, but he's more built for, because he came with the trading outpost update when that came out. Talos, or I don't know if I'm saying that right, but this is another guy that I've done, because I've done like Nova and then the 3 speedy people, like, because she's fast, he's fast, and he's fast. So I've done the 3 speedy people along with Nova before, just to kind of get things done as fast as possible. And that's kind of what his strength is. Plus, he's good with intellect as well. So if he had to be the research person, he could be while you're doing other stuff. But it's kind of a waste to have your researcher be the guy that, or it's kind of a waste to have a guy that's got 25% more movement speed and manipulation efficiency, which that's significant when it comes to healing. It's a waste if they're standing still researching. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do Quinn, because I do like the expedition speed with him. So I will do Ken, Quinn, Vivian, and Ember, and we'll get started. All right, so you'll notice that once this thing crash lands, you're going to wait for some text to pop up, and as soon as it does, then you'll tap the space bar to pause it, because there's some planning that needs to be done. Now, there is kind of an order of order of operations that you can follow if you really want to, but I just kind of go ham when it comes to doing the observations. Now, before we even get into the observations, we need to set up their schedule. I always do these 2 hours plus another 5 more on the bottom. Do relax for 1 hour at the 2 leftover gray lines, and the reason why you do that is usually 1 is enough. But the thing is if they're really far away, or if you're Quinn and you're researching, a lot of times they don't end right at 9 o'clock at 2100, so they won't get the research in by the time they eat or by the time they walk all the way back to base. So you want to have a relax in the morning to cause them to guarantee to get some relaxation in. And then also what it does is they will eat when they get done working, because they'll be hungry. And so then as they sleep, then usually they'll have gotten in an extra, a relaxation thing in. So then they'll be their happiness will rise. And then in the morning, they'll do another relax thing, and they'll eat again, so that they're nice and prepared for the day. And it kind of helps with meltdowns. I haven't really had a problem with meltdowns by doing that. Now, if you're using as somebody that has increased unhappiness or something like that, you might want to do another relax period. Or I think Carter, one of his cool things was that he learns things twice as fast, but he also needs more entertainment. You can give him another morning one is what I would suggest, because of that fact that they don't always catch the 1 hour that's there. I would do a second morning one with him to keep him happy. Then now we've set their schedule. Now let's go to activities. You do not want to leave this on simple priorities, because this basically is just, yes, we will do this, but it doesn't give an order to them. Well, that doesn't do anyone any good, because certain people are better at certain things. So the number 1 rule is anyone that is capable of healing needs to heal as their number 1 priority. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is how it is. You certainly can try and prioritize having healing specialists be the healer first, but the problem with that is, what if that's the person that's hurt? Okay, so that's why you just want to put everybody to heal. Everyone eventually heals. Like, there's enough combat that, you're going to experience. There's going to be enough injuries that everyone's going to get their healing leveled up to a decent amount to where you can handle things just fine. That doesn't really matter that much. So if you remember some of the things that we talked about, and like I said, I like to do everyone on observe to start. Okay. And then I talked about Quinn being the researcher, so I'm also going to put that to 1. And then I don't want anyone else to get in there, because Quinn's the best researcher. At least he will be. Ember's actually okay. So if I wanted to send Quinn to go do something, I totally could. But right now that's simply just not necessary. So we will start with Quinn doing the research, and Ember will do other things that we will establish. Now, if you remember when I was talking with Vivian, as you can see here, Vivian likes to cook, and she's the best at it. So after observe, because she can't heal, so then observe is number 1. Now, the way that this works is everything is prioritized from left to right, meaning that handle at 3 will be prioritized over deliver at 3. So with observe at 1, and that's near the end, then the next best thing, in my opinion, is to do cooking first and then tailoring immediately after that. And the reason for that is because later on, when we don't have any more of the emergency rations, it's all meals. That's you're dependent on just meals that are cooked. So she needs to do that first, then she can get to tailoring, because a lot of times she can cook a meal or two and then get to tailoring and be just fine and keep up just fine. So that's how I'll place her. She's also the best farmer of this group. So then I will have the farming stuff, all the harvest, ranch, and plant. I think this is more, yeah, as this has to do with the taming and stuff. That's not that big of a deal. I won't be doing a lot of that in this just because I never really dove into it, but I will have a playthrough where I do, because I want to utilize that on a map where I don't have as many survivors. But as far as ranching, I just leave that because it's all farming related, so I just leave that at the same priority, and then I will make the next things go, and then and then the next most important thing that she can do is assembling, because she's interested in crafting. Now, originally when the game came out, assembling was done with just the crafting thing, but the problem was the soldering table stuff wasn't getting prioritized enough, which they take a long time to craft no matter what your crafting skill is. So they had to give it its own branch so that you could prioritize the soldering bench over the crafting bench. So we'll let her be prioritize that, but not over tailoring. I don't want anyone else to waste any time tailoring, because she is the best tailor by far, and anyone else getting in the way would literally be just that, in the way. As far as cooking's concerned, what I like to do is I don't mind if people help, but if it's I don't mind if they help, but I don't really want them to do it kind of thing, I put it on 8. And then if it's something that I want to address later, but allow them to help, but I want to mess with it later, then I'll do something like construct. I'm going to take this off because I want Ken to get his construction up. So after observing, then I want him to do construction second. And then from there, if you remember, Ken's thing was that he's like the master scavenger, because he scavenges more, or he scavenges twice as much scrap metal. So he will be the master scavenger there. We want him to be a heavy priority on scavenging. And I also, because he is interested in hunting and combat, and he gets a happiness boost when he sees things die, then I want him to be a hunter. Now, I only like to have one hunter. And that's because, but usually if I need anything more than that, then I'm in trouble. So I just do one hunter, and that way I don't have to worry about anyone else, because then you know who's gonna go shoot shit, and you know who's gonna, you just know more about what people are gonna do. Now, when it comes to construction, I can safely put Quinn on 9 because he's gonna be researching 99 times out of 100. He's not gonna be helping with constructing anything quite yet. Vivian, I will also put at 9, because I don't mind if she does, because she's 0, and Ken won't take very long for me to get to 2 because he's already at level 1. And that's my big thing. And I want to try and get at least 2 people that can construct. But with having 3, then that means the house is going to go up in no time, and we'll tackle that later. So for cutting, this is for like cutting trees and stuff like that. I'll let Ken keep that on 3. And then I don't mind with this being behind that, but I will put crafting behind assembling, because I always want to try and prioritize assembling. Now, because he's doing all this other stuff, I'm actually going to do handling and deliveries on Ken as lower, because I actually want her, because she's going to be kind of like my mule to start. She's going to handle, she's going to deliver, and then after that she can go do stuff, which she's good at. mining and cutting and stuff like that. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the scavenging down to like 5. And then because I always want um, assembling to be prioritized, even though so that she doesn't like to craft. So I suppose we could take her off crafting because then she won't be unhappy because that creates bad things when that happens. So that's fine. We'll let her do that. Instead, then we'll let her just basically mine, cook. Maybe we'll even let her do some farming stuff. I don't know yet. She will help out with construction later. So we'll leave her off that stuff for now. Quinn, the nice thing is when it comes to your researcher, you don't really have to give a crap much about this. Just for the most part, set that to 1, set observe to 1, set research to 1, and then Quinn's basically done. You can add the cooking thing in there if you want, but 9 times out of 10, he's going to be researching, so he's not going to make it regardless. That's just kind of like a, emergency thing. So this all looks good. So now we have to set up the observe period. And what that basically means is before you can actually do what you're supposed to do with these things, you have to observe it first. So let's observe the grain because that's important. That's the grain is the fastest plant to start going bad. So you want to be able to harvest that ASAP. So you observe that right off the bat. This is the blade grass. This is like your hay, as you can see here. So let's observe that. And then I'm actually going to do a very calculated version of this to where I'm getting the super important stuff first. And then once the important stuff is done, then I will add as necessary afterwards. But so these are what they call nests. And in the beginning, these are almost the only hostile things on the map without being in combat. There is, unfortunately, these little duck-looking things that they call flightless birds. They become hostile at night because that's when they hunt. But they're not that bad. They really they kind of go for more wildlife than they do you. Okay, and then see if you're playing on this map, go to the side from this big crash thing right there. This is your cloth. You need to get that ASAP. Okay. And then to top it off, then we need to do these trees because we'll chop them down. But let's just go ahead and get a small broadleaf tree. Let's just get that researched right off the bat. We're going to need this bush because it gives sticks. And then this is a big broadleaf tree. We can get that going. And let's go ahead and get started. Yep. Vivian's crying. Somebody always cries in the beginning. That's not a big deal. But now she'll go and she'll start looking at stuff. Now, while we're waiting, I can get the camps set up. So the first thing that I like to do is I actually like to get their houses going. And I'll go this. And then I would recommend skipping 3 spaces. It's okay that this is going to get chopped down because you want to be able to essentially get that out. Well, you got to get that out of the way anyways. But then we do a sleeping spot around just so we have a minimization of people disturbing people in their sleep. And then even though we don't have the resource to start this yet, so we could do this, but I don't want to because I want the camp to be built. Okay, so now that that's done, I want you to do that, and then I want you, if you hold shift and then right click on it, then you can actually choose it. So we have him doing that one, and then I hit shift again. I don't know why he did that one. That's kind of annoying because I told him to do the other one, but Essentially, because I don't have all this stuff cleaned up. That's what Nova would do. But once this stuff is brown, you can cut it because then it's ready to be cut. I've never been attacked by a dog to start. That is a new one for me. I guess I'll observe him, but all right. I'm not going to have him wait for treatment because that's dumb. Again, I just right clicked, I held shift, queued it all up. That way my people can get to sleep. Which he will obviously rapidly do. All right, so now obviously with the insufficient storage space. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is go to storage. And then what I like to do is I'll come over here and then I will do an 8 tile long stockpile and then skip a space, do another 8 tile stockpile. And the reason for that is because we need this hay and these sticks to make the other shelter type. And so then, as you can see here, it's got an opening on one end and it's closed at the other. If you put 2 closed ends back to back, that will actually open up. So put the open end right here, just right on the edge. You don't have to overlap it at all. Turn it around, use R to rotate, and then just place 4 of these down to cover up your stockpiles. This is here, so even though I haven't observed it, I'll just butcher it because I can. I'll just butcher that one because I can. Might as well butcher that one because I can. Butcher that one because I can. So a lot of these animals, like if they're already dead, just go ahead and go ahead and butcher them because there's no sense in letting the meat go to waste. All right. So now that we're in the next day, and this particular map, we don't have to worry about this thunderstorm. Now that we have Ken kind of doing his thing, we want Ken to be able to build stuff. So now I took him off of observe, and I'm going to leave the other 3 on it because we still have a lot of stuff we have to observe. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Let's see if there was any closer ones, maybe. But not. Yeah. So we'll observe that one. Okay. Now that that's done, let's. Oh, what was there? Oh, small flying lizard. Yeah, you can try and get that, but a lot of times those will fly away. 6 broadleaf trees. Let's go ahead and chop those down. We know we're going to need to do that regardless. And then we also need to get some rocks going. So we'll go ahead and queue up some mining. All right, so this is good. We got the glitter cap. Glitter cap, that's the mushrooms. The buttermelon, that's the little ones that look like kind of watermelons. That's going to be one of your main food sources. And then that's the cloth, so that's really good that that's done already. And then we can cut these as well. And then we also need to get another set of shelters going. But I don't like to do the exact same way that I did the other one. I mean, it's going to be somewhat the same. The concept's the same, but I don't do it the same way. So I do this and that and that. I'll do like a 6. And then I kind of skip over here, turn it around, make sure you got the opening facing there. And then for bilateral symmetry, we'll do that, that, and that. And that's fine that, you know, you need to get more bushes and stuff cut. That's not that big of a deal. Put those trees down. Cujo, that's a little chicken looking things. If Olfin, that's these little mammoth looking things. Storage. This is why I separate it, as I'll go into here and then I do wooden. And then I'll go and then just same thing, make it the entire length of the thing. And then essentially you can hit copy. Copy. And the reason why I wanted you to get used to using copy is because that is going to help you become a lot more efficient at utilizing these things. So I'm going to butcher that one. So this one got killed, so I'm going to butcher it because he's already dead. But ranching, let's go to large drying rack wooden. I like to use the taller side, so we'll put that side. Well, I mean, they use both, but I'll put that there. Yeah, you need the rest, so we'll let him do that organically. So what we're going to do now, so we got stone. Everybody did that. So then you can come to your campfire. I like to do the stone one. You can do the metal one if you want, because you do have enough to do it. And I think that's why they did the math for 30, 30, 30 out of your starting ones, that we can do the campfire right away. But I like to do stone. So right by this, just because it's for efficiency, I'll do the campfire. And then I'll also immediately do a wooden box. Now this one's unique to me, at least, because I like to store the cooked meals there. I don't like to leave them on the shelf or over here. So since we know these are going to be built, now we can come back over here to the stockpiles and hit deselect all and then reselect construction materials. Do the same thing over here, deselect all, then do construction materials. And then these people will, while he makes the shelves, then these people will move all this stuff over there in order to make sure that all the stuff that we disallowed here gets moved to the shelves. So now Ken has reached construction 2, which is fantastic because now I can go back to the activities and now we can let her do construction if she wants. I'm going to let her do it with a pretty decent priority because she's good at it. But I do want her to cut and mine more than that. Now, Ken, we kind of have as a construction guy for now. So I'm going to leave him as like the highest priority one. And then now that we've done that, the next thing you want to do is now that we have this box. So this is like, they wanted to celebrate. That's fine. Go ahead and celebrate. So your default view for these usually is the eyeball. Click on this and then deselect all because we want just cooked meals, but then click on it, go to other and uncheck emergency rations. We have 60 freaking emergency rations. We don't want them in this box. We can have them over here. So what I do is I uncheck cooked meals, then I just only click other on these shelves. And then raw food can be in there because that's what we do. So copy restrictions. Then, because we want all these shells to be universal, paste restrictions, paste restrictions, paste restrictions. And that basically makes it so that this is literally only for the meals that are cooked. Now we want to set up the recipes here. We don't have any stuff harvested, so excuse me, throat got dry. I'm going to harvest that grain, harvest the melons, harvest the mushrooms, harvest more melons just for shiznizzle. Harvest this green. Harvest these mushrooms. And that'll be all good. Gonna harvest some of this stuff. This is for essentially fake leather or synthetic leather. And so we're going to want to do that. You'll see these little guys kind of going around. They're carnivores. They'll eat the crap out of the food. So I like to put the observe on there because then he can go observe them, which now he went away and now I can't. So observe just to get it done because you do want to eventually observe everything. You can observe this. Okay. Still can't do anything. I mean, we can do the meat, but I don't want to do it right off the bat. Vivian's harvesting right now, and that's okay. Science. So now we have the wood. Let's get the research desk placed. And then production, we can put the workbench down. And I like to just put them both right in here. Okay. So now that we got that all going, we've gotten our base done as far as we've gotten a base bit of tasks done. So now we can go ahead and go to scavenge. Oh, now see, this is one of the great parts about this specific map. So you get a visitor right off the bat, day 5. Of course you're welcome to stay. Because he can help harvest, and that's great. So now we'll go to schedule. Let's get him on the same schedule as everyone else. Let's get the relax going. And then now we can set all these up. Now, whenever you have a production building, it's going to start it with the times. But the best thing to do, especially with food, is just leave it on the 1 because it's going to take the 10 grain, but it's going to make 2 meals off of that 10 grain. And every meal that you do, it's 2 meals. So if you just do the until 1, then once it gets down to 0, then it'll come back and it'll have 2. And I think that should be pretty easy to understand why that's good. So then we'll make the veggie soup, which eventually will take the glitter caps off of that, but for getting it, just for the sake of getting it up there, and then I like to do the meat third. And that's mostly because the veggie stuff is faster, plus you might have a vegetarian, so you kind of need the vegetable stuff to be prioritized over the meat. So we'll get all 3 of those going, and then she'll eventually start cooking them. Now, let's get some more wood. So we'll cut those down. And then we need to get furniture going because they don't like eating on their feet. So we'll get the wood going, and then we can do a dinner table like right here. So we'll just left click to place it, and then it'll automatically give you a chair. But if you hold shift, you can do all 6 placements of the seats, and then you're ready for 6 people. But now that we have that going, now that we have the table built, we need to get scavenging going. Quinn needs to be researching because I don't have anything to observe. So the first thing I like to do is the lightning rods, because these thunderstorms can come with lightning that then can hurt your people, and that's obviously not good. So then you want weaponsmithing is the next one that I do, and then after that I will actually get metal refinement, because that's going to be needed for some musical instruments and stuff like that. I will then do antibiotics, because that's for medical, and that's a good thing. And then after antibiotics, then I will get tailoring going. If you don't have Vivian, as soon as you're done with weaponsmithing, you do tailoring. Period. It's not even optional. Then I'm going to go ahead and do spaceship deconstruction, because this isn't going to be much longer. And as soon as spaceship deconstruction's done, I'm going to do construction basics. But now, so once he gets done with that, so then let's see here. So we have that. We can go to production. That's the workbench, but it's all that. So then let's go to storage. We want to go to double wardrobe, and we'll do wooden, because we don't have any metal yet. And we're looks like he got some scrap metal, so that's good. So let's build another shelter, because I like to put these kinds of things in different shelters. We can go ahead and put this in another kind of back-to-back one here, so that we can maybe even, because I don't know if this, I don't believe it affects that. I want to say that I've always had it do that, but let's get the wooden wardrobe in there. And then we can also do one here. And then what's nice is this starts with the restrictions right off the bat. So this is where we're going to make weapons and tools. So we'll take apparel off of that double wardrobe. And then this is going to be where the tailor thing is. So we'll take the weapons and tools off that. So that this is where all the clothing goes. And that way when they're done that, he just puts it in there. Or when we have tailoring researched, that will get done, they can put it in that wardrobe. Okay. And we can do another scavenge thing there. Since I'm going to do on this, since I know for a fact that the winter is pretty mild, I'm going to start getting all the rocks and stuff that I'm going to need to handle doing the house. Let's see here. Activities. I do have to set Vicente's stuff. Scavenge needs to go lower. Mining can stay. He's got 2, so that's fine. But we can do that. Do 2 for mine, 2 for handle. We'll just do 2 for deliver 2 as well. We'll let him kind of become the delivery guy and the handler, and Ember can help with stuff, because he can farm as well. I remember that. Handle on 3. Heal obviously has to be 1. Hunt, we're going to take off. Cut can be 4. He isn't all that great at crafting, but we need to take him off tailor. Give just a smidgen priority to assembling. Um, Observing can be, I'm going to take them all. Everyone else is getting taken off observe now. We get taken off of research. So basically, from left to right, he'll heal first, farm second, mine and deliver third, which is good. And we're almost wrapped up for this. I do want to try and get the tailoring done, and then we'll call that good. So like I said, we'll get after the spaceship deconstruction, then you go to construction basics. Or actually before that, because it's not, we still have plenty of time. We got now 4 people that can build. I'm gonna do, so remember how I told you about the metal, the metal stuff? So we're going to do the musical instruments and the bench press because it's leisure activities, because that's going to start becoming really important. So let's get this dartboard out because people like to play darts as a leisure thing. And you just put it on any wall, so you can put it on that. Sleep parasite, and then just, okay, you don't really have to, you can read that on your own. So there's a dartboard. You want to do a shooting target, but we don't really want people to get disturbed when they sleep, so let's put that down here. And then a shroom torch is good to do just because they like it and it gives them something to find relaxation with. And then production, we want to get that metal going because it is certainly not a super speedy process. So we'll get that going. And then once that gets done, I'll show you the production chain on that. All right, so the workbench is done. Bandages, I like to do 20 bandages. And I don't really like it when they use this synthetic textiles, but I'll leave it because I don't really use a lot of it. Um, and then healing balm is another good one, but that one can go to 10. And don't forget you do the until. And then there shouldn't be anything else. There's the veggie leather with it, which isn't bad, but I don't want it there yet. So then you have craft weapons. We need to make 4 bows. I tried doing it with just 2, and it's just not good because sometimes you'll have 3 or 4 people that need stuff. So 4 is a pretty good number to do to just get it going. So that way you have some weapons going. The bandages are important. Production. All right, we just got the Taylor bench, so we're almost done with episode 1, but we'll get this placed. And this thing's getting attacked. We'll see if it lives through the night. It says bleeding out in 5 hours, so it's probably not going to live. So we'll have to remember to go ahead and do it. So well, let's hunt that, but we need him to have a gun. So over here, remember how we set up the weapons and apparel? So let's take the apparel, weapons, and tools, and then we'll copy restrictions, paste restrictions, paste restrictions, and paste restrictions. And that way they'll move the stuff to there. And hopefully that'll translate to us being able to get that going. About to die, and as soon as he does, I'm going to butcher him. Butcher. Otherwise, I normally wouldn't go for guys that low. Butcher that thing. This is their nest. I did like that they increased the amount for what they give for poultry, because at first it was kind of pointless to even go for them because they only gave 20 poultry or something like that. And considering that ends up being a problem, then it's like, why would I even bother? You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Burn? So we will need more stone, but just not quite yet. The fermentation barrel, do wood again. we got some of the metal things going. Oh, so aggressive animals. Now we really got to hurry. All right, so I'm going to pause it because we haven't quite gotten everything set up right. So I want Ken to get the railgun sniper because he's the hunter. And then we have 2 pistols. So then I want her to get a pistol. And then I think he's the best with combat. We can just look at the activities here. So for hunt, Vivian's the best with combat, but she's cooking. So we'll have Vicente get the other pistol just because Quinn doesn't like fighting. So then we'll have him also equip a pistol. Now I can hit this. And I don't actually want them to wait any longer. She can do it when she gets back. He's coming with that too. So I definitely like to get to where, you know, I can try and attack them first. Okay, so what happened? I had a sniper rifle and now, no, railgun sniper. You need to get that. Okay, now he's got that. Now everyone needs to come here. Where are they at? They're over there. Okay, perfect. Then you need to come back there. You need to be there, and you need to be here. All right, so that wasn't that bad. As you can see, it's totally doable. Just hit observe because you want to be able to see how much meat that they are giving later. And see, healing leveled up. Oh, it's pretty mild for the first attack. Now the sniper thing helped, and the placement helped because I just kind of left these 2 up there for fodder. Now you can try and butcher these if you want, but I don't because, like, why? In all honesty, it's kind of weird because, or it's not a very good use of time because there's only 5 per one of these little early ones. And so I don't do that, but I will observe it so that we can see later. Now, the last thing I want to do for this episode is I want to show you which things to hunt. Okay. With the Olfins is the only way you can get your leather. So they're important to learn. Now the full size ones are 60 and 40. Those are the ones you want to hunt. The other ones will eventually grow into it. You can kill the other ones if you're desperate, but I don't recommend it because it's just not good when there are no more Olfins left. Now with these guys, these glutches, that's bug meat. You want to get those at 40. So as long as it's 40, you can blast them. Come up here, harvest more grain. Over here, harvest more grain. Like I said, you really want to get these grains absolutely as fast as possible. And it's because of all the different stuff that uses grain, as well as the fact that the harvest goes bad so fast comparatively. Okay. So now we got that done. Let's grab these bushes here. And let's grab these bushes here, because you can see that we're out of sticks and out of hay. So we'll grab those. Didn't observe that guy, so I can observe that guy. But now we have Vicente. Um, obviously he needs to sleep too. So let's at least build another shelter. Let's do a metal one. And then I'm going to do this because I know that it's okay for that to be there. And then I'm just going to put another sleeping spot there. And we're just going to make it be the researcher and the tailor. So it's going to be Quinn and Vivian up there. But we got to wait for it to be constructed until we can do that. So now we have a punching pole because we unlocked leather. So that's a big thing. That's kind of it's a big deal. Put that over here. Yeah, need some more wood. I need wood. All right, let's go ahead and do some wood here and some wood there. And Ken should be repairing some stuff. Oh, I don't know what he's going to go grab. We can harvest those now. And harvest some of these broadleaf bushes. Not going to be used for a lot. Well, Ken, if you would have built sleeping spots, then you wouldn't need to sleep. But that's okay. All right, leisure is done. So now we need to get the musical instruments up, and that will wrap up the episode for it. Get that going. We'll get all these things here taken care of, and then that's when we will call it. So he was hunting. Definitely wished he would have built some shit, but okay. And then while we're waiting for that, one other thing I like to do as well is I like to go ahead and do another box, and I'll put it right in there, right by their beds. And what I do with the restrictions is I will deselect all, and I just click on medicines, copy restrictions, paste restrictions, done. And that's so that when they have to heal each other, then they don't have to run clear out here to come grab stuff. They can just go straight in and heal. Ken's sleeping right there. Again, if you would have built this crap, find it amazing that repairing shooting target. Like, what's he going to go get? What's he got? Hmm? Looks like hay, maybe? Yeah. So he went to go get hay, but not to. Uh, yeah, I'm at a loss there. I don't know what he's doing. But he's constructing the shelter. He'll get the sleep stuff figured out. All right, excellent. Assign owner Quinn. Assign owner Vivian. And then the rest doesn't really matter that much. And then, of course, he's sleeping because he's a weirdo. All right. Well, that's fantastic. All right, now that we got the other stuff done, let's go ahead and do the tools because it's not very much. Then I'm gonna do the construction basics. We'll do the animal training because that's not very much, and then we'll just knock out all these real short 6-hour ones that are here. But that's gonna do it for episode 1. Thank you so much once again for coming to check this out. Like I said, it's one of my favorite games of all time. There's just so much replay value here. I can't wait to make more and more videos on this. Like I can't even stop playing like now, you know. But thank you so much for checking out the channel. If you're liking what you see, like the video, subscribe. And of course, you know, I saved you the time earlier by getting straight to the point on the Paradox News. By some miracle, you made it to the end here. Just give me a pat on the back by liking my video at minimum. If you want to be super cool, subscribe. You know, don't even worry about the notification bell if you're not that concerned about hearing about this game some more. I want my stuff to be organically found, and I don't want to bother people. So I do uploads every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, but I have the following format. One is my beginner tips and tricks series, which is what this is going to go into, so that this will actually be coming out on Tuesdays. And then Thursdays is what I call my Let's Explore, because you have Let's Plays, and you know that's all great, fine, fun, and dandy, as people try and do guides without actually knowing much about the game. That is a huge pet peeve of mine. So that's why I'd rather do a guide that it may not go to the advanced type stuff, because I myself never am like mega super ultra expert at anything, because I have a life to live and work and stuff like that. But I can get people going in the games, and they can, you know, surpass me and teach me things after a while. And anyways, Saturdays, you'll notice I kind of jump all over the place, but Saturdays is what I look at as like the Let's Play continuational series. So I started this channel with Supermarket Simulator, with the beginner tips and tricks. That's where that's going to go. Even though that series is still going on, it's going to take a while for season 1 to conclude. So season 1 of that will then be on Saturdays. This will come up on Tuesdays, and the Let's Explore series will be on Thursdays. And then the Let's Explore, the way that that works is instead of it being this style where, because the entire channel is about helping new people, and the Let's Explore kind of gives a different angle to where instead of me just sitting here talking to you, telling you what to do and all that, that's more so to where if you want to laugh at how incredibly mediocre or subpar my gameplay really is, that's what that's for. Because you're going to watch me learn a game I've never played before or that I don't know very well, and you'll watch me have to try and figure it out. So that's where the entertainment value can come with that. And then as far as Saturday is concerned, that's more of like, it'll be a combination of me knowing about stuff. It'll be like me experimenting with different things. So, like, for instance, if I were to do season 2, which I will be, of Supermarket Simulator, it'll be me testing out different things. Or with this game, when I get done with the beginner tips and tricks with this game, then I will actually try and test out different things with this game and kind of report the results. And then the Thursday one, well, the reason why that one's exciting is because it'll start with the pilot of about 3 or 4 different games. And then I want you guys' feedback to tell me which game you want me to actually continue on further. And then essentially I will make either a short series or a full series with the Let's Explore until I'm comfortable enough to make a beginner's guide, so then see how that cycle can go. And sure, it makes more sense to do the exploration on Tuesday and then the beginner tips on Thursday and then the other one on Saturday. That might have a different flow, but this is the flow that I kind of wanted to do because I wanted the beginner tips and tricks to be out and established by the time the weekend comes. And then also, since the Let's Explore, that's a thing that is designed to not only be entertaining, but also is going to help bring in new people to the channel. And so I want that to be also established before the weekend. And then the Saturday one is kind of like, it's mostly for the subscribers to have something to look forward to for the weekend, which is when most people have their time off. So that's the design behind that. I know most of you aren't, subscribers, and that's fine with me. That doesn't bother me. Like I said, I just want my stuff to be helpful, and that's the point. So that's that. Come back, see me again, and take care.